Hello, this is Hannah with Hannah Crafted Gifts. I'm the shadow in the background. It is nighttime here and I am squeezing in a new type of video. You can hear me squeaking in my chair. I am going to create on camera. So this is really not much, if any, pre-planning. But luckily, we're gonna sort of case the catalog. Now casing, C-A-S-E, is an acronym that stands for copy and share everything. And it's highly encouraged in the creative community of Stampin' Up, which is one of my favorite parts of partnering with this company. I usually take casing to mean when you make exactly the project, and I rarely do that. I usually change it up a little bit to make it more me. So maybe this is like lowercase casing, no pun intended. But I think an important part of casing is to give credit where credit is due. So in this case, it's whoever the artist was. And unfortunately, we don't know specifically usually who does what product and project samples or concept art. But this is on page 61 of the current July to December 2022 mini catalog. And it's this set that I flagged initially, you can see my flag right here, as a great set for people to get. Didn't think I'd get it myself, but then I surprised myself. I had a 50% off item I could get from accumulating orders of my own and others, what's called a workshop order. And so I, as the host, got the reward of choosing an item 50% off, and you can choose bundles, which are a stamp set and tool, usually in this case dies, that coordinate, and you already get 10% off of both items when you buy them in the bundle. So I got an additional 50% off of that and was just really interested to see what this is like. I've never had a die that will do a package before. And I really liked not only the different creatures that you can see here in the catalog. You got a bunny maybe for Easter, a reindeer maybe for Christmas, a bat maybe for Halloween, which we're gonna come back to. But you also have little boxes that maybe could count up or down to a holiday or occasion. And I have ideas of other creatures you could maybe do, which maybe I'll do another video for that in the future. But again, right now we're just kind of beginning, or I'm just beginning to play with this set. I haven't done anything with it yet. And so I'm sort of casing the catalog, maybe even more than usual. So I want to make this little bat. I am not much of a Halloween person, but it's coming up. So if you've hung in there with me for this very long intro, again, this is going to be an experiment. I'm sure there'll be rambling and mistakes and so on, because I'm doing it like live, basically. So this is the stamp set, Design a Treat. And it's photopolymer, and you can see I've already also put the Design a Treat box dies in here. So we're going to start with those, specifically this box die. Now, I will say I should have known how big, or in this case, small this would be, because it does tell you in the catalog the dimensions. In fact, let's look at that. Largest die, which this certainly would be, 6 1/4 by 5. So that's probably 6 1/4 this way, 5 this way. But even though I work with crafts all the time and should recognize those dimensions, I didn't. And of course it has to be small to fit through the Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine. Or in my case, I have the old style, the Big Shot. But I was still surprised when I got this set. I don't know if you watched my unboxing and could hear it in my voice, but this was smaller than I thought it would be. And I haven't made one to put together yet, so we'll see. But you also get these little labels, 2 ovals, 3 kind of, I don't know what shape to call that. And then here's all your pieces for the animals. Now see, this looks so small, but the bat looks so big to me. You've got the antlers and different types of ears. You've got some kind of bow type embellishments, another label, another one of those ovals actually. So I guess you have 3 ovals and 3 of these, that makes sense. And then look at this big string of numbers, so 0 through 9, so you could do any number. So, not just holidays like Halloween, Christmas, Easter, but birthdays, anniversaries. So anyway, let's get started together. So one thing I'm changing off the bat, again, no pun intended, but I always appreciate that silly humor. I am changing the color. So this is actually, if you look really closely, it's DSP, and I know because demonstrators have access to what are called the recipes for any sample in any current catalog. So reach out to your demonstrator if you're ever like, I want to make that, so I want to know everything in it. Usually it just gives us the ingredients and occasionally a quick instruction if there's something, I guess, extra to know. But this is the Gingham Cottage DSP, which I don't know that I would have recognized. I'm not even sure I recognized that it was DSP initially. You have to look really closely in person in the catalog to see that distinction, whereas these are just cardstock. So I'm going to just use cardstock, and I'm going to do a black bat because I didn't think twice about it until I went to make my own, but I've never seen or heard of a green bat. Granted, I don't really follow bats. It's not like a favorite animal of mine or anything, although Batman was my favorite superhero growing up. But anyway, I digress. So let me actually move the cut and emboss machine, or again, the big shot, out of the way. Oh, look at that. Still have a piece of paper left over from my last project. My room is a mess, if you could only see. Okay, so I've got an 8.5 by 11 piece of paper. I think I'm gonna be able to get 2 out of this, even though I'm, you know, a little sad at how small it is. I actually wish it was just a little smaller, because if it was 6 inches instead of 6 1/4, you could use a 6 by 6 piece of DSP, or just get more out of, you know, your sheets of cardstock potentially. I don't know that it would make a difference there, but it would certainly let you use the 6 by 6 DSP. So I might try to modify it. Again, that might be another video to try to modify that. But I think I figured that if we put it this way as opposed to this way, well, it looks like you could get 2 out of sheet either way, doesn't it? Because you could do that and that, or you could do that and that, or that. I always try to think what's going to waste the least amount of paper. So here, you know, you're really getting to see my process. So I think I'm going to do it this way. So the 6 1/4 side and the 5 side. So yeah, that way I can save this whole strip along the side. So I'm going to go ahead and cut my paper down probably to 6 1/2. Let me open this up. Hopefully you can see this on there. I guess I'm a little high. Sorry if that was out of view. So I'm going to go to 6 1/2. So I have this whole strip now I can save for another project. And I don't think I'm going to cut it down this way yet. Although when you run it through the machine, especially if you have old scraped plates like me, it does create a little impression on the paper. So you might want to cut it to save the paper from getting that pattern in it. Accidental dry embossing. But yeah. So I'm going to lay that on there close to the top as I can. Again, so that I can make sure to fit 2 in here and maybe save that last little bit of my paper. This is just going to fit through the machine. Yeah, look at that. That's close. Actually, look at that. Interesting. So first thing I'm learning, I don't know that I can put it through the machine that way because the die is actually bigger than the clear plate. Oh, so interesting. Well, how is that supposed to work? Yeah, I can't fit a piece of 6 1/2 paper through there. Okay. All right, so I'm gonna have to cut my paper down a little more. Let's try cutting the paper down to 6 1/4. And sorry I'm doing this off camera, but all I'm doing is trimming 1/4 off of my paper. It's just easier than having to move the machine out of the way again. So now my paper will be, so see I cut 1/4 off. Now it'll be 6 1/4, and I think that will fit through the machine, but just, ooh, that squeaks through. Squeaks through. So maybe I can put through, I mean, you could certainly do it at an angle, but again, that's gonna waste even more paper. Although, look, I can still get 2 on there. Oh, and actually that might have wasted less paper, because look, okay, I'm learning. So if you put it at an angle, you'd save even more of this side of your paper. Can you see that? So if I hadn't already cut this piece off, this strip to begin with, at an angle, I could have cut even more and had it, you know, an even bigger piece than this being saved. So that's what I'll do next time. Get that little fuzz out of there. All right. So I'm going through at an angle. That's better with dies anyway. I don't fully understand the reason. I think it like puts less stress on it. So again, I'm trying to line it up as close to the edges as I can to still, you know, save what paper I can. But again, my paper's just gonna squeak through. I'm probably gonna curl the edges actually, so. Usually you wouldn't do more than 6 inches through this machine. But since it's just paper, if it is a little too snug, it'll squeak through. It'll just kind of damage the paper, kind of ruffling the edge. But it won't damage the machine to just have a slightly big piece of paper go through. Whereas other things you wouldn't want to push through. All right, so that's gonna be 1. And I'm only planning to make 1 for now, but I do want to see, again, how best to cut this out of paper in the future. So let's see. You couldn't get 3, could you? No. All right, but look at that. You're gonna be able to easily get to, and actually, you know, maybe at an angle you would be able to get, like if I hadn't, well, but you have to cut the paper. I was gonna say if I hadn't cut the paper, maybe you could get one out of here, but you have to cut the paper to go through the machine. So if anyone watching has figured out a more efficient way to waste less paper with this, by all means, let me know. Some of you are like, it's just paper, just use it. But I just, I'm on a budget. I like to try to be a good steward of my supplies and waste not, want not, right? So I don't know who said that. That's old wisdom, I think, but sorry if I'm not giving credit where credit is due, or if that comes from actually a negative source. All right, so that's my cutout sheet. I'll put that away. I'm done with the die for now. Here's the little slit, which I can recycle. I'm gonna move my machine. Thanks for your patience with the narration. All right, so here we go. So not only is it cut, it is scored for me. Now that is nice. See, I thought as a demonstrator, it could be nice to have a die, because I can make little boxes out of paper, although I don't know that I can make one as intricate as this with like the slits and the dome shape and all of that, at least not quickly and easily. But just to cut this out and score it all would never be that quick. Even with all my fussing with the paper size and everything this first time. So I'm gonna go ahead and fold on all the score lines. If I have time to edit this, I'll speed up these parts, although then you'll hear me squeaking. It makes the audio squeak when you do that, unless you're silent through it. But I probably won't have time to edit it, so it'll be good that I'm talking, hopefully. Pass the time a little more. So I just accidentally started to fold on a section that wasn't a score line, so I'm just using my bone folder to smooth that back out. Maybe I'll cover that with something in the end. That's where I wanted to fold. Other side. Almost did it again. Fold in these little flaps. I know green is a good Halloween color too, but black, I mean, that's just classic Halloween, right? But green, purple, orange, I know those are also kind of traditional Halloween colors as well. All right, so I'm guessing the way this goes together is, oh, I just realized I folded these the wrong way. So those are actually supposed to be folded back towards you. I think everything else is right. But yeah, I think that comes up so that those can kind of kiss in the middle. And then fold in one side and put them through the slit. Fold in the other side and put them through the slit. I know it's black, so I hope you can see this. And that is so cute. Oh, that is so cute. And I say that without any arrogance because, of course, I didn't make it. That is all Stampin' Up! Design right there. So cute, but tiny. So that is going to fit like a Hershey's Kiss or two, a Hershey's Nugget or two. Shout out to Hershey's, apparently. Maybe a truffle, but, you know, that's not even going to fit a fun size candy bar. I bet it would fit this. Well, the fun size, not the snack size, but it would fit the fun size, like square candy bar pieces that you get around Halloween. Although usually snack size, right? Is it the fun size that's real small? I think so. So it might fit that too, but real small. But, you know, real cute. And so let's see. We need to make our bat out of this. So we got to figure that out. So I'm going to get another die out here. Let me put my box die back in. Just like that. And again, I hope I'm on camera. I have to be kind of zoomed in, so I'm sorry if I'm not really in frame. Pull my bat out. Now the other thing that the catalog used that I won't be able to are the matte dots for the eyes. So again, if you're looking at your catalog on page 61, you can kind of see there's some dimension and shine on those. It's not just pieces of paper. But I don't have that embellishment, so I'll be figuring out something else for my bat eyes. And of course I won't do them in black because black on black wouldn't show. So the bat is gonna go, I think, probably through here, through these two dome pieces on top. Rest in there like that, but let's see. So I'm gonna do this in black as well. So this is where I could use this piece that I cut off, or I could use, probably what I'll do is this. I think that'll waste less paper because that's going to be a hard piece to use. So I'm just going to cut that out. So normally that would probably just get recycled, right? All right. That'll be the perfect size for my bat. So I'm going to run that through the machine. I'm not like seeing this as a tutorial, it's more like an exploration. I keep forgetting to talk because usually when I'm, exploring a project or a product for the first time, I'm, just kind of in the zone on my own. But I wanted to include everyone else on this. So yeah, I think this is probably going to best go in between here. And look, even this has some, I guess, sort of like embossing on it. Hopefully the light's catching that. You can see like the veins in the wings and the little outline on the head there. So it's got some good detailing that you get too, not just the shape. All right, so now here's my question. How does that fit on there? Because it seems a little big, or I mean a little small. Maybe I just don't have my box squeezed together. Oh, but it holds the box closed. Well, isn't that clever? So look at that. So if you just kind of push your box a little more snugly together, then it does fit perfectly and it kind of holds it closed. Well, that's cool. So I guess the eyes are actually going to go on this oval piece. At least that's how they have it in the catalog, because you can see hopefully the difference. Even if you can't tell the gingham pattern on the DSP, you can maybe see the difference in the greens, because they use Parapizzazz cardstock here, and then that Gingham Cottage DSP here, which maybe it's also Parapizzazz, but it is a slightly different look, at least in the photograph. So you can tell that this is the oval, or the half circle on top of the box, and that the ears are behind. I guess you could put it in front. You could do that. But then how would that work? Yeah, that wouldn't work, because in order to open it, you have to be able to pull the tabs through. So you have to be able to take the bat off. So you wouldn't really glue the bat on. The bat just rests as like a way to pinch it closed. That's interesting. Well, I'm gonna figure out a way to do a couple little eyes on there, and I could do it, where I add the label with the 31 for Halloween or something like that. But I have to decide. But I did just want to kind of show you my first use of the product and a project you could make, again, kind of casing the catalog, or in this case, really, I guess it ended up being just using the supplies, because we used different paper and everything, embellishments, and didn't do the number and all of that like the catalog did. And of course, you don't have to maybe see that picture in the catalog to know, like, this is the box and this is the bat. But it does help to have that visual. I certainly don't mean to discount, again, the great work that was done. I love seeing the way on some of the other animals, like they used the stripe and the spots. I don't think I would have thought to do that, because you do have those different backgrounds. You actually do have kind of a gingham or plaid pattern background. So you could do that on the bat, stamp those on there. You could do the for you, all sorts of options. This does remind me of Batman. It looks like the things he would throw, like the fighting stars that were shaped like a bat, if you know what I'm talking about. Well, that's probably all I'll share for now, but maybe more to come with this as I play around and do some different things than what you do see in the catalog. Maybe with different sizes for this, so that you could use different papers and maybe different creatures. We'll see. Hello again. I wanted to come back on Hannah with Hannah Crafted Gifts and just share that I did decide to try trimming this box to see if I could get it on 6x6. So I didn't try sending it through the die cut machine with a 6x6 piece of paper, but I did take the one that I cut, the second one that I cut out of cardstock on my earlier video, doing it for the first time, and I trimmed off 1/8 of an inch on either end here, because that's what was 6 1/4, so that's what would need to come down 1/4 of an inch. So again, 1/8 of an inch here, 1/8 of an inch here. You can see you still have just barely, probably like I don't even know if that's a 1/16 of an inch on either side of the slit, so it's close, but I'm gonna try folding it up and see if it holds. Because if so, wouldn't that be great? Now, of course, this is in cardstock, so I still have to try it with DSP. And in the DSP, you know, it might be even less sturdy there in that very narrow section because it's thinner than cardstock. I'm gonna remember to fold those the right way this time. So everything folds in except for those top half circles that fold back towards you. So my 4 little flaps are the last part. I put this here because I realized that first video was probably hard to see black on my dark wood desktop. All right, moment of truth. Let's see. We're gonna pretend we put a little treat in there. And really gently, I'm gonna try to fold this up and over and through. Now, you know, if this does hold, I imagine the more you open and close it, the less likely it will continue to hold. But it does hold. It's lifting just like the last one did, but that's where our bat comes in, right? So there's the first one without the ends trimmed. So let's see. Do if I can get between these two halves. Can slip my bat in there. Again, pinching it tight so that the bat just fits. Well, look at that. That works. So next up, try DSP. Hello a third time, Hannah with Hannah Crafted Gifts. So I'm continuing to play with the Design a Treat bundle. And silly me, just like in the first version of this video, I didn't realize that turning the die would help. That's all you have to do to use a 6x6 piece of DSP. Maybe some of you were screaming at the video in the first one, like, just turn it. And then I turned it and you were like, just make that connection in your mind. But I didn't. So, you know, I thought you had to maybe fit it like this, and we're gonna have to kind of let that 1/8 of an inch hang over and get trimmed off. But no, you just turn it. And then you don't even have to use the full sheet of 6x6. Look, you're gonna have a little L of paper left over. So this is the Lights Aglow Specialty Designer Series paper. It's more of a Christmas DSP, but look at this great black kind of bouquet side. And even this side, like that could be Halloween-y, because it's not explicitly Christmas to me. It's just lights, right? So it could be Twinkle Lights at Halloween, All Hallows Eve. I think it works. So we're gonna try this together and see how the box holds up in DSP, which of course is a little less thick and therefore a little less sturdy than cardstock. But again, that's what they used in the catalog. They didn't use 6x6. They used, I believe the Gingham Cottage is 12x12 DSP. But how great that you can use 6x6. So I'm just scooting this up to, again, preserve as much of my leftover sheet as I can, because I can use that for some other things. Whoop, I'm gonna slide this up a little bit more on my stand, or base, I should say. All right, here we go. Rolling through, holding tight. It does get tight. Ready for the pop? Oh, we didn't get a pop. Sometimes it goes at the end. Not like an explosion quite, but it does make a little bit of a bang. All right, so here we go. And let me bring my my base back in to help you see this a little better. So see, I've got some DSP left over. Move the die out of the way. And I'm gonna fold real carefully on this. Now I know I'm putting the flashy side on the inside, but you know, that's kind of a nice surprise, I feel like, when you open it up. And since the outside is supposed to look like a bat, you know, that would be quite a fancy bat. Whereas I feel like the black, just slight bouquet, that can pass a little better. Kind of like the subtle gingham passes on the green bat in the catalog. Again though, like, if you know your bats, are there green bats? I know it doesn't have to be a literal interpretation, so I'm not criticizing, I'm just curious. I do like the slightly more literal interpretation of things though, like trying to make things as real to life as possible out of paper. I mean, still stylized, it's not ultra real. But we're almost there. All right, last flap to fold. So here we go. Certainly easier to work with the DSP. It doesn't resist you as much. Oh yeah. Oh my gosh, that holds together better. Probably because you don't have like the thickness and the weight of the cardstock pulling up. Well, of course, now I say that it's pulling up a little, but let's put our bat in there. Oh my gosh. Now I am realizing that while this paper is basic black, because of the bouquet, it is a little more gray overall as compared to the black cardstock. So using like a basic gray cardstock might work well with this too. Of course, the inside is a little more solidly black up against that gold. It is hard to get your finger in there. The take your pick tool could probably help with that spatula end or whatever that's called. Oh my gosh, so fun. Well, I think that's the winner for me. And then, you know, when they take this off and they open it up to get their treat out, they get this little surprise of these gold stars. How cute is that? So yeah, I'm gonna add my eyes, and ooh, I was gonna add yellow eyes on these versions, and I probably still will. But on this version, I'm gonna do gold eyes. So you get a little hint of the gold peeking through. So yeah. I have to figure out how to make it a small enough hole punch, because I think my hole punch is a little big for the size of this bat. He would have like really disproportionate eyes, but I will figure out a way to cut little gold eyes for him. And check out my blog if you're watching this on YouTube for a picture of that. So I'll have the final product pictured on my blog with this video post. Fun! Thanks for watching thrice. All right, 4th time's the charm. Hannah with Hannah Crafted Gifts. And this is the, I think finally for now, at least finished project. So I realized instead of having to try to cut or punch out eyes that were the right proportionate size, I had these red and green adhesive backed pearls from the July to December mini catalog as well. And the gold were perfect there, especially again, because the inside has the gold. You do have to kind of wiggle around the embellishment, but again, they used the matte dot embellishment for the eyes in the catalog, so that's definitely doable, especially with the DSP, because again, it's a little, what, did I get over both? Yep. It's a little more flexible because it's a little thinner, and so without the bat, it just looks like an embellishment, but then you add the bat and it's the glowing gold eyes. So I'm gonna put that back in there. But then I also wanted to show you one other thing I realized. So if you didn't have the bat to kind of hold your box closed, one thing you can do, I was just thinking, is you could spread out the half circle. So you could, you know, just do it ever so slightly. So it's fanned out just a little bit and it holds closed, or you could really fold, because again, these are folded back anyway. So, you know, make sure they're pulled all the way out and then really fold them back and down onto the lid. And that's really going to hold the 2 side flaps that come up over those half circles in place. So if you don't have the bat to hold it together, that's an option. So just wanted to share that, that one last thing. And I'm realizing now you probably want to do that fold back for the other types of ears, because you can see these are just going to probably go in and glue like onto the back of one of these half circles would be my guess. If you did these ears. Although again, how would you pull that up and over? So let's play around with that some more and figure out how they do that. So I'm not sure how you would pull up and over if that was glued in place, but they probably do just like set them in place then, just like the bat. It's just, it doesn't hold in, but then, you know, you pull out the ears or the antlers in order to open the box. So it's just kind of resting between those 2 half circles. That's my guess. But I guess this isn't the final video. More to come on this as I play with it. But for the bat version, we are done. And yeah, for this little bow, same thing. It's probably just resting in there until you open it up. But again, feel free to comment, because I'm just guessing and learning along with you this time in this new format of video. So thanks for hanging in there. Happy crafting, everyone. You can like this video if you did, comment and I'll reply. Subscribe to my channel for more. Again, this is the first type of video I've done like this, but I do tutorials, I do unboxings, project show and tells, events. So join me. And again, happy crafting.